The secret to female intimacy. Physical intimacy with a woman is a really tricky maze. I understand this is probably one of the biggest questions that I get from a lot of my clients. How do you tell if a woman is either friend zoning you or she's actually giving you signs that she's attracted? And next is sexually attracted to you. So this is what I want to discuss. There are some signs that you should look out for as a man, and also some information and knowledge that you should look out for, because all women are different, all men are different, depending on your culture, religion, what your belief systems, your worldviews. So I don't want to generalize men and women in any way in this platform, but I do want to give you some of my thoughts when it comes to the evolution of men and women, and this builds up as a very general sense of how I view female intimacy. But when it comes to the modern times, if you've made a mistake, and you let me know if you've done this before, made a mistake of asking a woman, a female friend, what makes her attracted to one man versus not the other man, or she's attracted to one man or sexually attracted to one man versus she just views this other friend, male friend, as a brother or even just a completely platonic friend with no sexual attraction. She won't even be able to tell you exactly what is the core reason behind her feeling that way. She might just say, well, I just feel it, or well, he's hot, right? So this is what I want to talk about. I understand women are probably one of the least valuable sources of information that you can get out in society if you really want to learn how to develop your skills as a man. So let's dive into this topic today. Hi everyone, I'm Christy, registered psychotherapist. I'm trying to build an advocacy, and I really want to shed light on men's mental health. Men's mental health is under attack because there seems to be a huge imbalance of power now. There's a power struggle between men and women, and as a practitioner, I've seen men's mental health being under attack because you guys honestly are suffering in silence. And so I built this platform hopefully to target relationships, the struggles of modern dating, daily struggles that men go through in modern dating, and hopefully give you some valuable skills that are not just hateful and frustrating, or validating your frustrations, in order for you to actually develop skills to close the gap between you and the woman that you truly desire. And of course, when it comes to closing the gap, that comes in all forms of life, which is your mental health, your career, if you're a father, you're closing the gap between your children and you. And so that's what I want to develop: healthier relationships, and truly believe relationships are probably the key reason that humans were built on this earth. That's how we survive. So if you like videos like this, if you like real life problems and videos that I go through real life struggles, please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and comment down below. Why are you here? What are you struggling with? What's going well in your life? And how's your mental health doing? So today, I want to dive into female sexual libido, all encompassing, okay? Call this the 101, if you will, something extremely important that all men need to know before understanding the differences of sexual tension that you can build depending on the woman that you're seeing. And it's really important for you to be able to stage, or at least decipher, what type of woman that you're dealing with when it comes to the very broad concept of sexual intimacy, okay? It means different for every woman. And so this is what I want to talk about: the psychology behind it, and what you can take from this video in order for you to understand how to build sexual tension with a woman, what your role is and what is truthfully not your role. So, number one, you've probably heard of the concept that women need to feel secure and safe to be intimate with a man. Although that is somewhat true, somewhat to the core of, it is the basics of what sexual intimacy is for women. I want to start off with this point though. Women do need to feel safe and secure, but it is not entirely your responsibility to 100 degrees or 100%. That is one of the biggest misconceptions out there in society, that safety and security is actually the responsibility of the man before sexual intimacy can begin. I'm not saying it is not your role, but it is somewhat her role, and let me explain how that is broken down, okay? So there's two types of women when it comes comes to safety and security. And the first one I'm going to talk about, it is going to be much harder for her to build safety and security or sexual intimacy. And then the second one, it's a little easier. And let me explain to you the differences or similarities between these types of women. But before I talk about the types of women, it is not completely and utterly your role to safe and secure place, okay? So although the core theory is that a woman needs to feel completely safe and secure with a man to be able to be physically intimate with him, on the flip side, I see a lot of men essentially going into overly nurturing mode, overly attentive mode, almost like unintentionally love bombing with a ton of flowers and dinners and candles, right? And what is the worst is actually overly questioning. Are you ready for this? Do you want to do this? Are you sure? And not really reading the signs for asking those questions, or even if those questions are important, because you can read a lot from a woman's behavior without words. And by no means am I saying flowers, candles, a beautiful dinner, and connection is not important. However, a lot of men do this assuming that this is what is going to make her feel safe with him, comfortable with him. And this is what I really want to talk about. So if a core theory that a woman needs to feel safe and secure in order to have intimacy or have sex with a man, then how are women different, okay? The truth is, safety and security is actually within herself. So what that means is safety and security needs to be provided inwardly on her own. If she doesn't feel safe and secure in her own body, there is no amount of convincing, no amount of dinners, no amount of flowers and candies and attention and nurturing and questioning can actually make her feel safe and secure. If she feels like there's a fire in her in which she is sabotaging her own inner being, okay? She doesn't feel happy with herself. She doesn't feel secure or valuable in her own skin. There's nothing you can really do about it. That's the first type of women. And then the second type of women are the more seemingly extremely compassionate, charismatic, down-to-earth type women. They can come out as that. And the internet might hate me for saying this, and I really might get in trouble, and I'm going to say it in a way that is implied. Hopefully you'll understand. Essentially, it takes her very little time for her to feel safe and secure because she already feels extremely safe and secure in her body and with the act and behavior of sexual intimacy. And what that means is there's a very short time between first date and her being in bed with you, because she is extremely open to the fact of this idea of physical intimacy, and she feels very safe in her own skin. And so you'll see that it is much easier to build up to the act. However, the act may not mean as much to her as it does to the first type of women that I'm talking about. Let's go over everything that we just talked about. The very core basics of female libido is the fact that she needs to feel safe and secure. However, there's a difference between how much you can do as a man and how much she already comes with the act, okay, with the package. How is she built up? How secure and safe does she feel in her own body? How open is she to this behavior or this concept of behavior and sexual intimacy? And those two core factors are extremely important in determining in your woman what you can do as a man in order to read the signs, okay? Read the signs and not take things personally, okay? Number 3, okay, is the type of women who feels extremely comfortable, secure, and safe in her own body, but she holds extremely high values in the concept of sexual intimacy, okay? And what that may look like when you're going on a date with this type of woman is that she may be showing you the combination of type 1 and type 2 that I just described. She's extremely charismatic, she's very confident, she's very flirty. However, it is extremely hard to read how to approach or increase the stages when it comes to the number of dates that you've been or how long that you've been dating, okay? So this type of women, the third type of women, is what I normally like to call higher value type women. not trying to generalize or numerically analyze the value of women in any way. However, I'm just telling you that the third type of women are usually type of women when it comes to evolutionary psychology and the psychology of sexual intimacy with women. That's where signs and your role as the man and what you choose to do or not do will heavily influence whether or not you're able to escalate the stages of your relationship, okay? And so when it comes to that, I always tell my clients it's extremely important to not overly nurture or overly give attention, because that may seem like you're love bombing her. And quite frankly, a lot of the times women are extremely fearful of being love bombed. And sometimes you mean well, I understand, like the dinners and the attention and the caring questionings. Are you okay? How do you feel? You know, those questions can be out of care. But sometimes women are a little bit put off because they feel as though you're trying to build up to something. Women have that analogy, honestly. I know it's a horrible thing to admit, and I know that's not you or the person that I'm talking to, but generally speaking, most women are thinking that men truly only really are blinded before they get the hokey pokey, okay? They know that. And so most of the times with these type of women, what you need to focus on as the man is truly working on your masculine identity. And why that's so important is this is the point in which romantic tension and emotional connection, chemistry, compatibility, all built up together will lead to sexual tension, okay? Obviously not talking about the second type of women. And I'm not saying if a woman sleeps with you the second time that she meets you that she's like a low value woman in any way. However, I'm just telling you in a general sense, if you're having a struggle understanding how to escalate the relationship, you've been on 5th or 6th date with her, 7th date, 8th date, 10th date, and you still don't know why she hasn't invited you over for coffee, or she always asks for afternoon date, or she seemingly always has something to do after your dinner date, or there seems to be always an excuse, but the date and your time together is extremely hot and fireworks flying left and right, and there's so much intimacy. I would say a really important sign for you, and the fun part actually for you men, is actually being able to let that intimacy, that sexual tension, romantic tension boil. However, before you can get into that stage of letting those feelings and those imaginary thought and the glances, the risk of falling into impulses, for instance, right? Before you jump to the gun, right? And make a woman essentially do something that she said she was never gonna do, right? Because women do that, and that means she has really strong sexual tension with you. She's like, I did it, right? I gave it. And I'm like, because it's a fearful thing for women, for the third type of women, because she may fear of losing you in a sense, okay? And so I would say if you can truly build that emotional and chemistry, let that boil a little bit, it can make her comfort with you a lot higher and obviously make the act a little bit better. And the signs you should truly look for is essentially everything other than her inviting you over, essentially. She's told you about it, you guys talked about it and implied about it, you know, the texting and the flirting comes up, but the act just hasn't begun. So I would say this type of woman, she feels extremely secure and confident in her own body. She's flirting with you. However, she just holds the act as a little bit more valuable to her. But all I wanted to really talk about in this video today is the core basics of female sexual intimacy is that to its core, safety and security is extremely important, but many times men go into over-responsible mode in which you think you can do everything in your very power to make her basically sleep with you, and that's not true. It's not just your role as a man, okay? If she doesn't feel good in her own skin, it's truly impossible for you to even escalate the situation because she's not even welcoming of that feeling. She doesn't feel sexy. intimacy, okay? So that's the core basics. Make sure you understand that if a woman doesn't want to sleep with you, but everything else is going really, really well, doesn't necessarily mean she is playing with you or leading you on. And many times this is when a lot of my clients begin relationship coaching, because the actions of sex or the stages of the relationship hasn't really escalated when it comes to intimacy. Everything else seems to fall in line. I would say try to understand or decipher which stage your woman is in, okay? For instance, if you have a woman who is a second type of woman and she hasn't really escalated it, well, it kind of shows that she's not interested and you weren't able to build sexual tension. That's also a skill that you probably haven't tapped into, why you got friend zoned to begin with, right? However, first, extremely important, the secret to female intimacy is safety and security. But first of all, a woman needs to feel safe and secure in her own body and the act as well in order to obviously be with you. And it's a half-half responsibility. Half of it is safety and security in what you can do, how long you're willing to postpone it, your standards as a man as well, and also if she feels safe and secure with the act in her own body, okay? So I really hope you found this video informative. I really wanted to modernize things and make you understand a very science-based topic when it comes to sex and intimacy, but in a modern twist, because I know in today's society, a lot of things have changed, okay? Hope you guys like this video. If you like videos like this, please, please, please do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below what your questions are when it comes to sexual intimacy with a woman. If you're dating a woman for a couple months now and you still haven't gotten to that place, what are your struggles in trying to escalate things? What have you done? What hasn't worked? What has worked for you? Really want this community as vulnerable and solution focused as possible. If you don't have anything nice to say to other commenters, please do me a favor and not comment. Men's mental health is already under huge attack. I don't want any negative comments in the comment section. I want people to give insightful criticism, insightful thoughts, and enlightening thoughts for people to really learn and up-level themselves. And that's the only way to fight against mental health. And a lot of the times, if you haven't started therapy, really important to understand that there are solutions out there, but it's important for you to understand first, what are you struggling with? I wanted to talk about a lot of men's struggles, which is escalating and deciphering whether a woman is ready to have the hokey pokey. So thank you for joining me today. If you liked this video, please come back and I will see you next time.
Hi everyone, if you enjoyed our content, don't forget to follow us on TikTok and IG where we post daily and YouTube where we post weekly.